You wake up. You check your phone. It's a flood. A relentless, scrolling nightmare of geopolitical fractures, economic alarm bells, and weather maps bleeding red. It feels unprecedented. It feels chaotic. But what if I told you that the script for this exact moment in history, the confusion, the specific conflicts, the very texture of our anxiety, was written down centuries ago? We aren't just talking about vague horoscopes here. We are talking about specific, terrifying parallels that are lining up with the headlines of 2025 in a way that should be impossible. The year is 1555. A French physician named Michel de Nostradame sits in a tower in Salon de Provence. He is staring into a bowl of water, inducing a trance, and scratching out quatrains, 4-line poems, in a garbled mix of French, Latin, and Greek. He isn't writing for his contemporaries. He's writing for us. Fast forward 400 years to a dusty village in Bulgaria. A blind woman named Vangelia Pandava Dimitrova, known to the world as Baba Vanga, is muttering predictions that would reportedly foresee the fall of the Soviet Union and the towers falling in New York. These two figures are the architects of modern doom scrolling. But here is the catch. For decades, skeptics have dismissed them as charlatans. They say the verses are too vague, the accuracy rates inflated, and they are often right. But as we move deeper into the volatility of the mid-2020s, the skepticism is hitting a wall. The patterns are becoming too sharp to ignore. Today, we are not just reading history, we are stress testing reality. We are going to overlay these ancient warnings directly onto the map of 2025 to see if they are just coincidences or if they are a roadmap for what comes next. Let's look at the first and most immediate layer of this puzzle. Global conflict. State-based warfare is back. It's grinding, it's expensive, and it's consuming the attention of every major power. Now, look at this text from Nostradamus. Through long war, all the army exhausted, so that they do not find money for the soldiers. Instead of gold or silver, they will come to coin leather, Gallic brass, and the crescent sign of the moon. Stop and unpack that. The army exhausted? This isn't the shock and awe of modern warfare we got used to. This is attrition. This is the meat grinder we see in Eastern Europe, where lines barely move, but resources evaporate. But the second part is the real hook. Gallic brass and the crescent sign of the moon. In the cryptic language of the 16th century, Gallic is France. The crescent moon is the enduring symbol of the Turkic world. Why would these two be linked in a prophecy about a money-draining war? Look at the diplomatic stage of 2025. You have France positioning itself as a primary security guarantor in Europe, and Turkey acting as the indispensable pivot state, the broker controlling the Black Sea, the bridge between NATO and the East. Some analysts are looking at this 500-year-old poem and seeing a specific geopolitical prediction that the resolution to this exhausting conflict won't come from the battlefield, but from a mediation led by these specific regional powers, driven by the sheer economic impossibility of continuing the fight. Coining leather is the ultimate sign of desperation. It means the real money is gone. It's hyperinflation wartime economics. But if war is the threat we know, the next prophecy is about the threat we are currently birthing, the machine mind. Nostradamus wrote about new sages and inhuman intelligence, but Baba Vanga's lore gets much more specific and much darker. The legend goes that she foresaw a time when humanity would cease to be the only dominant intelligence on Earth. Enter 2025. We aren't just using AI, we are integrating it into the nervous system of civilization. We have ceded control of the stock market, energy grids, and information flow to algorithms. And this is where the modern interpreters step in. There is a figure making waves right now, Athos Salome, dubbed the Living Nostradamus. He claims that 2025 is the tipping point, the year AI moves from a tool to a distinct entity. This aligns with what computer scientists call the black box problem. We have built systems that learn, but we no longer understand how they learn. They are developing internal logic that is alien to us. The prophecy warns of a dominance that causes social rupture. When you look at the displacement in the job market and the inability of lawmakers to regulate generated content, that doesn't feel like magic. It feels like the news. We are handing the keys to the kingdom to a successor we don't fully understand, fulfilling the oldest warning in the book: the creation that surpasses the creator. From the digital cloud, we crash back down to the soil, the earth itself. You cannot talk about 2020 without talking about the climate breaking point. The heat records, the floods, the fires, it's physical. Nostradamus has a quatrain that is terrifyingly descriptive. Garden of the world near the new city, in the path of the hollow mountains. It will be seized and plunged into the tub, forced to drink waters poisoned by sulfur. Let's deconstruct this geographically. The Garden of the World, that is almost universally interpreted as the Amazon rainforest, the lungs of the planet. The hollow mountains, the volcanic chains of the Andes, the new city, Brasilia, or perhaps the sprawling urbanization eating into the jungle. Plunged into the tub implies catastrophic flooding, a phenomenon we are seeing oscillate with brutal droughts. But waters poisoned by sulfur? That is the kicker. It suggests toxicity, volcanic runoff, or perhaps the industrial poisoning of the water table from mining and deforestation. This isn't just bad weather. This is a description of an ecosystem collapsing in on itself. Baba Vanga echoed this, predicting that natural disasters wouldn't just be events, they would become a lifestyle. In 2025, with insurance markets collapsing in climate-vulnerable zones and extreme weather becoming just weather, the prophecy of a wounded, poisoning Earth feels less like mysticism and more like a climatology report. And when the land fails, the money follows. We alluded to this with the leather coins, but the economic prophecies for this era are distinct and heavy. We are living in the Great Economic Reckoning. Both mystics pointed toward a massive redistribution of wealth and a collapse of traditional value. In 2025, we are staring at the debt crisis of the century. Nations are running on fumes. The prophecy of coining leather hits harder when you realize that the money in your bank account is losing purchasing power every single month. The leather is fiat currency that buys less and less. Vanga's followers claim she saw a shift in the global economic center of gravity, the East rising while the West stagnates under debt. Look at the rise of the BRICS nations, the challenges to the dollar, the fracturing of global trade. The prophecy isn't just about poverty. It's about the end of an era where the old financial rules apply. It predicts a reset, a painful one. But there is something scarier than poverty. There is the invisible enemy, the plague. The collective trauma of 2020 is still fresh, but the prophecies suggest that was just the opening act. The ancient plague will be worse than enemies. A great pestilence from the past returns. Notice the word ancient. He didn't say new, he said from the past. This is where science chills you to the bone. As the permafrost melts in Siberia and the Arctic, we are literally waking up dormant pathogens, zombie viruses, that have been frozen for 40,000 years. Our immune systems have zero memory of them. Scientists have already revived Pandora virus from the ice. It's alive. The prophecy of the ancient plague returning isn't magic. It's biology being unleashed by climate change. In Japan, there is a surge of interest in the manga prophecies of Ryo Tatsuki, who predicts a catastrophic event in 2025 linked to the ocean and disease. Whether it is a disease X spillover or a prehistoric pathogen, the warning is consistent. The next great war will be fought against biology itself. Finally, we look up. The cosmic fireball. It is the most cinematic and terrifying of all the predictions. From the cosmos, a fireball will rise, a harbinger of fate. The world pleads. For centuries, we thought this was a comet, a random act of God. But look at the second half of the verse, science and fate in a cosmic dance. Why would science be involved in a comet strike? Unless the fireball isn't a rock, unless it's a weapon. In 2025, the threat of nuclear escalation is higher than it has been since the Cuban Missile Crisis. A nuclear warhead re-entering the atmosphere looks exactly like a cosmic fireball. It is a science that seals our fate. Alternatively, consider our new planetary defense systems. We are now actively tracking near-Earth objects and smashing probes into them, like the DART mission. We are dancing with cosmic fate, using science. Whether this prophecy warns of an asteroid we try to deflect, or a missile we launch at ourselves, the imagery is undeniable. It is fire falling from the sky. So where does this leave us? You can dismiss Nostradamus as a stoned poet in a tower. You can dismiss Baba Vanga as folklore, and maybe you should. Humans are pattern-seeking machines. We look for faces in the clouds and doom in the tea leaves. But even if these prophecies are pure fiction, the fact that they resonate so deeply right now tells us everything about the year 2025. We feel the exhaustion of the armies. We feel the heat of the wounded earth. We feel the anxiety of the black box intelligence. The prophecies serve as a mirror. They don't just predict the future. They reveal our current fragility. The question isn't whether a blind woman saw this coming 50 years ago. The question is, now that we see it coming, what are we going to do about it?